Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. 11 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Wednesday morning, the 23rd day of April, 2025. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE, 90.9 FM over the air here in San Juan County, New Mexico. In Durango, Colorado, we broadcast at 103.3 FM, and you're listening to us from anywhere else on the planet. You've gone to our website to do that, ksje.com, or maybe you've asked your smart speaker to play KSJE, and if it's smart enough, it should do it. Welcome also to our viewers who are joining us this morning. The video of this program is streaming out live to the KSJE Facebook page and also to our YouTube channel. So welcome aboard, everyone. So glad that you are with us, because coming up this morning, we are talking about the C.A.S.A program at Childhaven. So stay tuned for that. We'll give you a lot of details about the program, maybe how you can get involved, or let someone else know how to get involved to the C.A.S.A program here in San Juan County. Then, of course, next hour, Mick Hess will be here roving with the arts. It is our weekday classical music program, a special 90-minute version today, because Mick Hess will take the show right to 10:30, and that is when our local and regional author program will start, right on Four Corners with Delcherie Gladden. This week, Delcherie is speaking with author Ellen Saul. She was here recently for an author visit back in March, talking about her latest book, From Pain to Power. And we'll tell you more about that coming up today at 10:30 on Right on Four Corners. You can also connect with KSJE on X and Instagram, in addition to Facebook and YouTube. And if you're a podcast person, we invite you to check out and subscribe to KSJE podcasts. They're available at all these places where you're probably already listening to podcasts. So check them out and discover a new program that you may have missed recently. Outside our studios here at San Juan College, it is a sunny Wednesday morning, 46 degrees at the moment. We are expecting mostly sunny skies today with a high of 73 in Farmington. Clear skies tonight with a low near 45. It'll be mostly sunny again tomorrow with a high of 69 on Thursday. Partly sunny, 75 on Friday. Sunny and 75 on Saturday. Sunshine with a high of 67 on Sunday. And as you can see, overnight lows mostly in the mid-40s, but again, upper 30s by Sunday night. I'll be back with my guests from Childhaven right after this on KSJE. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center. The most important ingredients to sustaining health and wellness are the resources and tools that help you live a vibrant and healthy life. At San Juan Regional Medical Center, the goal is to promote health by making sure those resources are available. Find the path to the best life at lifebetterhere.com. San Juan Regional Medical Center. Better is our mission, improving lives through personalized health and care. I'm back in Studio A with my guest this morning, as I mentioned, from Childhaven here in San Juan County. I want to welcome to the KSJE microphones our guest this morning. Joining us here from Childhaven, from the Childhaven Foundation, Jennifer Gray is here with us this morning. Good morning. Welcome to KSJE.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
You bet. Good to have you here. Kaibah Gorman is here with us as well. She is the program director of the C.A.S.A program. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Welcome back. Nice to have you here. And Ralina Lowly is here as well, and she is the I'm looking for it. You're the supervisor of the C.A.S.A program. Sorry, I missed my notes there. But Ralina, good morning to you.
Good morning. No problem.
Good to have all of you here this morning. Appreciate it very, very much. And so, Jennifer, I want to talk to you because you are kind of the newest member of the Childhaven team, if you will. But you have been a C.A.S.A volunteer for a while longer than that, and so I guess I want to talk to you a bit about that connection and your new position, new-ish to you, of being the head of the Childhaven Foundation. So let's start there. You have been there for 6 months now with the foundation, correct?
I have, yes. I'm the development director for the foundation, but before that, I started as a C.A.S.A volunteer. I've been a CASA volunteer for almost a year now. It was something that I was just kind of called to as a child who was in the foster system myself. It was something that I was one of those children who kind of slipped through the cracks in the system and had multiple placements in 1 year. And whenever I moved to this area, I saw some flyers about the CASA program, and I was like, this is the right thing for me to do. I was just called to do it at the right time.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah. And then through the CASA program, I learned a lot more about Childhaven
Right.
and just the amazing programs that they have and just what a benefit they are to the community here and how many people they help.
Very true.
So whenever this position opened up, I was like, let's make just a little career change and move into this position. I'm so glad that I did it.
Right, as the Foundation Development Director.
That's right.
And so here you are. And so that job, for folks who maybe aren't familiar, is to help to raise money and develop other donations and donor relations with folks to support the work of Childhaven, not just the CASA program, but all of the Childhaven programs, correct?
Correct. And we've also added a little marketing spin on it. So
Okay.
I'm helping with the redevelopment of new marketing materials for all of the different programs and recruitment efforts.
Right. So that includes being on the radio, I guess.
It does.
See, here you are. So wonderful. Well, great to have you here, and wonderful to have you working at the foundation at Childhaven. And again, with your connections to the CASA program, we'll bring you back into the conversation too, because that's an important part of perspective to hear from a CASA volunteer. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We really appreciate that. Kaibah, I want to turn to you a little bit about, again, reminding our audiences about the CASA program. CASA, as I know, is an acronym that stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate. It is a program that we've been talking about for a long time because of the important work it does for children in the area. And so just remind us a little bit about what the Childhaven CASA program does for children.
Yeah, so we find community members here in San Juan County who would like to advocate for children who are in foster care due to abuse and neglect. And so the role is to be the mutual party in these legal cases, and as a CASA volunteer, we speak on the best interests of the children and also respect their wishes throughout the process. So we're always writing court reports to the judges to inform him and paint the picture of how the children are doing in foster care. Through that work, we have monthly visits with CASA children. We attend legal meetings as well as court hearings and school meetings and just really get to learn the child through this process. It is one of those times in their life that is a really tough time for them, and so if they have somebody who comes and visits and speaks on their behalf, it can make a difference. And the goal, of course, is that every child in foster care have a CASA volunteer.
Right, that's the idea. And so with Childhaven's program, you are close, but there are still children who are waiting for a CASA volunteer at the moment, correct?
Yes. We currently have 11 children who are in need of a CASA volunteer. And so every month we are working to assign our cases, but we just don't know when children come into foster care. It could happen any day. And we also have some of our seasoned volunteers who are retiring. Some have served 8+ years, and we thank them for their time, but it leaves the room for opportunity for growth for those that have always wanted to get involved.
Sure. And would you agree that maybe some folks that sign up to be a CASA volunteer don't expect to be spending 8 years as a CASA volunteer, but they stick with it because obviously cases don't, I hope they don't last 8 years, but they are assigned different cases and they just feel the work is so important they stick around longer maybe than they expected.
They do. So most often what we see is that our CASA volunteers finish one case. Through that experience, they want to continue because the work is so important. We really count on our community for the children. And so part of that mission, a lot of our seasoned volunteers come, and those that have committed 8 years, typically they probably have served on 3 or 4 cases. In between that time too, sometimes they take time off,
Sure.
And then they'll come back when they're ready to receive another case.
And you are pretty flexible with that, right? With your volunteers, if they need to take a break or would like a certain case or a different case or what have you, I think there's some flexibility in there, right?
There is. So that's the wonderful thing about being a CASA volunteer is that this work is done on the individual's time. So if a foster parent can only visit on the weekends and that's what works with the CASA volunteer, then that's a perfect time for a visit. Some people say, well, I'm going to go on vacation for a month, and how does that situation work? And so we always say, pick up the phone and have a nice conversation, or else most often children don't receive a letter in the mail, and so sometimes that is an opportunity to do something nice and a sweet gesture while you're on the road.
Right,
So,
right.
and there is a lot of flexibility when it comes to being a CASA volunteer.
Good to know, good to know. And Ralina Lowly, I want to bring you into the conversation too about working with the CASA volunteers and being flexible and trying to recruit new CASA volunteers. And so again, the idea is that you are there for help if the volunteer has a question or something about their particular situation or their cases involving the child that they are working with. You're there to help them?
Yes, of course. So if a volunteer can attend hearings or meetings, because we understand, we're all busy between 8 to 5.
Right.
CASA, my role is to fulfill that, take notes, fill them in. We do monthly supervisions that Kaibah touched upon, and so I always keep the volunteers in the loop. I always do my best to send weekly updates if there's any, and if there's any questions, or if I know it can be, there's some hesitations on building rapport with these children, so I'm there to help bridge that gap with them.
Right. Got you. Very good. And that's really important too. And I think a lot of CASA volunteers are probably working in addition to their volunteer opportunities. Is that kind of what you find, that they are working full time and then also being able to be flexible to get to some of these court cases and visits with the child?
Yes, a lot of our volunteers, they do work the 9 to 5, or else retirees. But even as retirees, they're still wanting to be involved in the community, and we really appreciate that. And so anytime they have any other obligations, we're able to work with them.
Right. And so you're always looking for volunteers, as I have learned over the years. And again, so that the ideal would be to pair up every child with a CASA volunteer. Isn't that the ultimate goal, right, Kaibah?
Yes, it is. And part of that is that with the flexibility, most of we have the opportunity in all of our meetings and hearings to be virtual. So that is also another way of everybody to be successful, is if they can't get to the court hearings, our Children's Court Judge, Judge Daly, does allow our CASA volunteers to be on Google Meet, and so they can still be where they need to be and also attend their hearings. And same with any CYFD, the Children, Youth, and Families Department, same concept. And so everybody is there for to be the support for the child, but also to be there for the families and how we can work with reunifying families or potentially other plans that may be in place.
Right. And that, of course, is up to the judge.
Yes.
Right, but it's also helpful from the CASA volunteer. I know the judges, I think, really appreciate the reports from the CASA volunteers from the child's perspective, to give them just another point of view for these sometimes very complicated court cases that are coming before them to make a decision about, right?
Yes, he does count on our CASA court reports. It is all based on the facts that we have gathered. In fact, according to National CASA, the children that do have CASA volunteers, we see a higher rate in when it comes to, of course, education, but also the permanency rates as well, so the children don't linger in foster care. The voice of the CASA volunteer is very important in these settings.
Right. And Jennifer Gray, I want to come back to you as our CASA volunteer representative here this morning, and the work that you have done. I know we can't talk about cases specifically, but talk to me a bit about the work that you have done as a CASA volunteer in writing those reports. Maybe some folks may think I'm not a writer, I don't know if I can do that, but it's probably pretty, I don't want to say easy, but maybe free-flowing once you're involved with these cases to be able to write these reports for the judge. But you tell me what your experience has been.
Sure. Well, writing the reports, yes. It's a learning curve at first, but I have to say that Ralina and Kaibah have been so wonderful with the support that they have provided. As a new CASA volunteer, sometimes it can be a little daunting attending these meetings or making your first call to CYFD to get a report, or even going to a parent-teacher conference or something like that. I know even the first time that I wanted to go and visit my kids for the initial visit, I always say my kids, meaning my CASA kids.
Yes, right.
But I was nervous about that, and Ralina went with me, which I thought was just really wonderful. So I think that's something that we really need to emphasize as far as, in recruiting our volunteers. You're not going to just be assigned a case and told to go out and do something on your own. You are supported every step of the way. So that's a really wonderful aspect of the program.
That's great.
And as Ralina said, having the virtual sessions really does make it so that you can attend that session. Even if you're out running errands and you know what time that session is, you can log into Zoom or Google on your phone in your car and still participate in that session. That has been wonderful. The court reports, I kind of see them as being the eyes and ears for the judge. We have multiple people in the courtroom who are standing up for different entities within the case, but as the CASA volunteer, you're the person that's standing up for the child, but you're also giving the judge the information that they need to make some very important decisions for the future of the child.
Right. Very good. And those reports are fairly regular, or they come at certain intervals during the court process, I guess? Is that kind of usually how it goes?
They come at certain intervals during the court process. And again, Kaibah and Ralina have been so helpful in writing those court reports. And even whenever you have, a valid reason for being a little bit overdue, they will help you.
Good. That's good
they
too.
They will help you with, everything you need.
Right.
Yeah.
But I suppose then the judge who's reviewing those reports can maybe see if there's maybe some changes over time or some new observations that the CASA volunteer has noticed about the child. That could be reflected in these reports, and the judge can kind of take a look and see over the course of several months perhaps of how things are going or not going or what have you.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I notice with each visit with the CASA children that I'm assigned to. I notice just these little subtle changes over time, and it may be just like their eyes have just a little sparkle to them, or the skin color just looks like more of a healthy glow. You notice sometimes that they're walking more confidently with their shoulders back, they're making more eye contact, and those are the little things that I think it's important to point out in the court report. You're seeing these changes that are very positive in the child's life.
Got you. Yeah. And Kaibah Gorman, I want to ask you about that to pick up on what Jennifer was talking about, because that is maybe something that maybe our guardian ad litem may not pick up on, who is the legal representation of the child in court. But that's why having these CASA volunteers are so important, to give you that other nuance maybe of how the child is doing outside of the courtroom.
Yeah. So that's the wonderful thing about CASA volunteers, is that they carry one case, and some do have two cases, but that's the most that we ever would assign to a CASA volunteer, and those are typically seasoned volunteers. So you think about the caseload that our professionals have to carry and versus our CASA volunteers, and so we're able to provide some details to the team or follow through with emails or phone calls, text messages sometimes, so that everybody is really understanding the situation that a child is currently in. And it could not just be the child, it could be potentially the foster parent may need additional resources as well. And so our CASA volunteers really help children with their needs and finding those resources as well, and just to ensure that nobody's falling through the cracks and that everybody has a voice through this situation as well. And so it's wonderful.
Very good, very good. And so to recruit CASA volunteers, you are having some monthly sessions where folks can just drop in and find out more about what we're talking about this morning. And so that's a relatively new development, I think. Is that a Jennifer idea that has come out?
It is.
It is? Okay. All right. I'll give you credit for it.
Okay.
I think you should take credit for it. But how is that working out? Kaibah, how is that going?
Oh, it's wonderful. The first session, we were those that showed up. We received an application from all of them, and so that was a 100% outcome. The next one was just just almost as equal, and we're still waiting for the last application to come in. And so that setting really is for those that may be on the border of, can I do this, or I have further question. It's just a space that we've created for the community, for those that have always maybe had an interest in becoming a CASA volunteer but want to learn more before making the commitment. And so it is every second Tuesday of every month from 5:30 to 6:30. And so you just come. It's just no reason to get dressed up or anything. We're very relaxed, and just come and learn. It's just a space, and it's hosted at Childhaven.
Right, very good. And again, that'll be coming up, the next one on May 13th.
Yes.
Is the next one you've got scheduled at the foster care building, 814 West Apache Street in Farmington. We're putting the phone number on the screen too if you'd like to call and get more details about the CASA program, or if you maybe can't come to the information session but still would like an application. I bet you'll send one if folks ask for one.
We will.
Yeah, so you can give a call. And for the radio audience, it's 505-325-5358, extension 182. That is the number to call if you'd like more information or to sign up to be a CASA volunteer and be involved in these children's lives that we're talking about here this morning. And these children really are it's an important job, a big job, as we've been talking about. And as you mentioned, Kaibah, maybe 1 or 2 cases is what these volunteers are signing up for. If they only want one, you'll probably only give them one. Is that kind of the idea?
It is. And so when we do have a match, they'll come in, and the supervisor would either be Ralina or I, and we will propose, and she and I work to match cases depending on how we are the facilitators of our pre-service trainings. And so through that process, we get to know our CASA trainees, and then Ralina and I are thinking about who would be a best match for that case. And we always propose it to the CASA volunteer, and it is their choice. Can they advocate for that situation? And through that process, if we think there's a match, then we'll go ahead and file an appointment letter. And so everybody does have the option to pick the situation that they want to be involved in.
Right, got you. And in some cases, would there be maybe sibling groups as part of the same case? Is that also part of what happens sometimes?
There is. Our families are all very unique. Sometimes there's one child in a case, and sometimes there are more. I think the biggest case that we've had one volunteer on is 6 children, and that is a lot of children, all different needs, and sometimes that could be multiple placements. And so those are busier cases to carry, and so sometimes we have to figure out who has a little bit more time to be able to carry those caseloads. Right,
that makes sense. And then, of course, the other question that I had too was CASA volunteers need to be 21 or older. But they can be, but other than that, I think, is that about it? I mean, there's background checks and things like that, certainly for CASA volunteers. But as we've heard, they could be working full time, they could be retired, they could be maybe some college students that are maybe getting into this type of work and things along that line. All those things seem to make good matches for a CASA volunteer.
Yes, and so one other thing that we like to add is a 1-year commitment. That is just so that the child and the parents and everybody on the caseload has consistency. You think about all the things that could change in a child's life. It could be their placements, it could be their workers, attorneys, anybody and everybody. And so if we have that one consistent person who's coming every month to see the child, that's what we'd like to see. So the 1-year commitment is very important. And then, of course, we're a national CA.S.A program. So onboarding is a 30-hour pre-service training with a 5-hour core observation time.
Got you. And is a lot of that training now online as well? I know it used to be face-to-face, but that's ancient now, it seems like, right?
Well, we've changed through, the pandemic has grown the program, so in good ways, because right now pre-service is hosted where it's a guided learning, so everything is scheduled around the CA.S.A trainee's time, and through that process, if you're only available, let's say 10 to 12, CA.S.A staff will facilitate the CA.S.A training. There is some pre-work before we meet, and we right now have a current class that's meeting 5 to 7. And so it really is developed around people's time and their success to get through the curriculum. And we're just trying to make this program where everybody's needs are, and because we have a need in our community to serve the children who are in foster care right now.
Right, very true. Well, it sounds like you really bend over backwards to make this as helpful and convenient as you can for your volunteers, and to also provide the support that they need throughout the case when they're working with these children. So
Yeah.
that's really important as well. And Ralina, I want to come back to you a little bit about the work that you do and the training a little bit too, right? Because that's also a big part of it. This 30 hours of training and the court observations, I imagine that's part of the training, and that's got to be helpful for your volunteers to kind of meet the people they're going to be maybe dealing with or talking to or making appointments with, things like that.
Oh, definitely. Our guided learning does give like mock cases, so you'll get to see how a case is presented, what the case history is, what the children's needs are, and then even practice those court reports.
Right.
But it really gives you a firsthand experience in a way, like in a sandbox, to understand your role as a CASA volunteer. And then, of course, the 5 hours of court observations, you will definitely see how a CASA court report does make an impact in the case, and how Judge Daly does value the CASA's input.
Right, very good. And Jennifer, I want to come back to you a little bit about your experience as a CASA volunteer and the training that you got. You mentioned that how helpful it was, and even during the course after the training, I think if you come up with an issue that maybe you're stumped by, there's support. You can ask a question to Kaibah or Ralina to help you figure out what's going on. Is that how it kind of works?
Exactly. And as Ralina mentioned, those cases within the training, those were very eye-opening. There are parts where they say, what would you do in this case? And you form an idea in your head what you would do. And then they tell you, what the correct way to do is and what you should avoid. So it was really helpful. And it also touched on just a lot of cultural differences and making sure that we're not being judgmental in our cases. We have to very carefully consider that child's culture and not judge things based on, our own experiences. So that was really, really helpful part of the training too. Yeah.
Good to know. And it seems to me that it's not always a black and white maybe decision when you're looking at some of these things, that there are shades of gray and trying to really interpret what's going on, culture and other things coming into play. And so that's an important thing to, I guess, be aware of and to remember when you're a CASA volunteer.
It is. It's very important. But also we're dealing with children, and all children are unpredictable. So you may think that you're seeing the case go in this direction, or you may think that this might be the best thing for the child, and then the child just throws a wrench into the plan. So you have to be willing to adapt and able to adapt.
Maybe your next report could be very different.
Could be.
Right.
It could be.
Very true. Interesting. And Kaibah, I want to come back to you again. We were talking about, being able to place children with CASA volunteers and things like that. If a CASA volunteer says, I'd like to work with older children, or a CASA volunteer says, I'd like to work with younger children, is that something too that you can maybe take into account depending on the types of children that are needing a CASA volunteer?
Yeah, we always do our best to match based on the CASA volunteer's preference. So after they complete pre-service, we do have a follow-up interview, and through that process, we kind of get to know a little bit more of what type of situations they would like to advocate for, but also those that they're not comfortable with and their overall age preference. And so we can't guarantee everything, and so sometimes when we felt like there's a fit and a match that could potentially work, then we always propose the case. Again, it is the CASA volunteer's choice, but we always hope that we're going to make a good match.
Right. Very true. Well, there's the number again on the screen. If folks are watching, listening, and would like more information on how to become a CASA volunteer, the number to call, 505-325-5358, extension 182, or come to the information session that'll be happening the second Tuesday of May 13th at 814 West Apache Street. That is the Childhaven Foster Care Building. And you can check that out and ask all the questions that I haven't asked this morning to get your questions answered. But I appreciate you guys coming in this morning to talk about CASA. But before we do run out of time, there's another event coming up in June that maybe we can throw something out to give folks a little bit of a tease as to what you've got planned. But that is another Childhaven event happening on June 13th, Jennifer Gray.
Correct. We will be holding an event at Lock Street Eats 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on June 13th. That's a Friday, June 13th. And that is a family-friendly opportunity for everybody in the community to just come together and support Childhaven.
Very good. And that's all of Childhaven, I guess, right? All the different programs. We've just been focusing on one this morning, but there are many other things that Childhaven is involved with here in the community, including foster care. And I know we have a future date to talk about that.
We do.
With some other folks from Childhaven, so we'll look forward to that. But in the meantime, I appreciate all of you coming in this morning to talk with me about the very important C.A.S.A program, and we hope we can find some more volunteers so that no child who is going through the situation is in need of a C.A.S.A volunteer, because you'll have plenty.
Yes.
Let's hope so. Very good. Thank you both for coming in, all three of you for coming in. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you. My guest this morning from Childhaven here with me on KSJE. KSJE and the San Juan College Native American Center present the Student Study Tip of the Week.
Hello, my name is Latoya, and I'm here coming to you with the study tips of the week. Occasionally, college professors will tell you the information that will or won't be on an exam. Listen to them. They're sharing this information with you to save you time so you're not studying the wrong information for hours, and you can focus on the important points. If you're unsure about what to focus on while studying, send your professor a quick email to confirm or speak with him or her after class.
The Student Study Tip of the Week is presented by the San Juan College Native American Center and KSJE. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did, and if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.